I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Doulop, you're lying to us. You say you never drive your Corvette with the top on. Well, you know what? You're right. I have said that, and it's very true. But it's 32 degrees outside, and it's very cold, and I have an hour and a half trip ahead of me. So the top is on, because I don't want to get there, you know, and be dead, because that would suck. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you guys are watching this. I know it has been about 4 weeks since I've made a video, and I'm sorry. It's just been very busy lately with family stuff and all kinds of unknowns. Anyways, I'm back. I am actually on my way right now on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, which I have not had this car on the Turnpike in probably 9 years. I had it out to Ohio a long time ago. But anyways, we are going to Lancaster, Pennsylvania today to meet up with a subscriber who lives in Ephrata. I actually met him at the Corvette of Carlisle car show in 2019. And I've kept up with several of the ones that I met there, but I'd say this is probably the one that I keep up with the most. We text probably once every week or once every 2 weeks. But he just bought a Corvette. He's wanted one for a long time, and he finally found one that was perfect for what he was looking for. And he said, "Hey, since I got this car now, why don't we meet up and you can look at it? We can make a comparison video, you know, whatever you want to do." And I was like, heck yes, I'm in. So we're on our way to Lancaster to meet this guy, and this is exciting because I have not sat in this generation Corvette in, well, since 2007, so 13 years ago. So I'm very excited, looking forward to seeing Matt again, and we'll be there soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at our meetup spot. As you can see here, the car is looking pretty good. I actually, for the first time in since 2014, actually 13, took this through a touch-free car wash, only because I don't have water hookup at my garage yet, at my house, so I don't really have a way to wash it at my house yet. And I wanted to get it. It was really soiled, and didn't want to use the wireless wash, so I decided to take it through a car wash, and it actually did a pretty good job. I mean, definitely not as good as, you know, a hand wash, which is what I always do, but she's definitely looking pretty good. We're still waiting here for Matt to show up. He did say he should be here any minute, so we will be looking forward to seeing him here very soon. But there's a Corvette right there. Look at this, C6. Can't even hear it. What the crap is that? A Spy Corvette. Look at this. Oh yeah. As you guys can see, it is a C5, and wow, that is gorgeous. Alrighty guys, we moved to a different spot because over there we were on the road and there was a lot of Jake brakes on tractor trailers going by, and over here it's a lot more quiet. There's actually nobody around, so we are here with my buddy Matt, and his brand new, well, brand new to him, C5 Corvette here. And Matt, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, this is one of the horses I got in my stable here. So I actually just got this here a couple weeks ago, and I am an engineer, so I do geek out stuff all the time. But this is what I moved up to is my new pride and joy right here. So this is a 2004 Corvette. It is the base model, but it does have several options on there. They call this magnetic red 2. I
was going to ask you that. Magnetic red what?
2.
2, okay.
I think earlier in the C4 line they had another color. It's just marketing gimmick to help you sell more stuff.
Of course.
But it's basically a red metallic, like a burgundy.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, man. I hope it shows up on the camera, guys, because I know it really does glisten in the sun. I'm going to try to get it some over here too, so the sun's behind it, but it's gorgeous color.
Yeah, so part of the reason why it looks the way it did is I think the previous owner never really took it out. So I ran the Carfax when I was looking at it, and it's only had 2 previous owners. So while it's a 2004, it's actually just got a hair over 13,000 miles.
That's all it has.
When I bought it, it had 12,665.
Holy cow.
To tell you how original it was, it still had the original tire. So
I
was a little nervous driving on it. I actually moved up to the Continental Extreme Contact.
See that. Yeah. Do you like your tires?
I do. So it was between this and Michelin's, and because these are staggered tire sizes, they cut the warranty in half. So on the Michelins,
okay,
I only get like a 10,000 mile warranty for the tread.
Yeah.
And then this, I get like 30,000.
Wow, that's really good, especially for a sports tire, man.
And then we're like within $10 of each other on tire. So that's
pointless. Yeah, that's nothing.
But so it's got pretty much everything was original to it. So the one thing going from the tires being the they call it the EMT, the extended mobility tire.
Okay.
Basically, you know, puncture proof, supposedly. They are extremely harsh ride.
I bet.
And they made the car extremely loud. So at first when I was test driving, I'm like, is this car really this loud? But
like,
then
road noise loud, right?
Yeah. And also it just really stiff ride.
Yeah, you wouldn't want
that. Mainly it's because the sidewalls don't flex that much.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
And you know, on top of that, there probably has been some advancements in tires in 17 years since
it
was
probably slightly, yes. So the one thing that you don't know about Matt at this point is he's not just a Corvette guy. He likes all kinds of cars. So let's hear what else he has. What else you got in your garage?
Well, I got more than what my wife probably likes me to have. So I got a 2012 Dodge Challenger.
Nice.
That one's good, and I'll tell you a little bit about how they're different a little bit later on. And then I've also got a 95 Ford Mustang that is in a let's just call it sleeping status. It needs to be basically, I redid the interior on it, but that's really about all I did. It really needs to be gone through. Oh, and I did the suspension on it, but it's at my parents' house, so I wasn't gonna get it, but then the daggone COVID stuff.
Yeah. Now, does your Mustang run though? Like, can you drive it and stuff?
Well, it's got gas in there from probably about 6 years ago, so probably it needs to have some stuff done, but I think within a month I could have it back up and running. Okay, yeah. And your Challenger, it's how much power has it got compared to this? Horsepower wise? This is a little bit deceiving. So this one, just for reference, has got 350 horsepower and I think around 350 torque. Just so you guys know, this is a 250 horsepower, 350 torque, and this is a C4, obviously, and this is my car, and then the C5. So there's a pretty big difference here in engines. And also, too, this is the LS platform, so it's actually aluminum heads, aluminum block. I think yours actually has aluminum heads on it, but it still probably has the iron block on it. So there's a little bit of weight savings, because we were actually talking about that earlier, and I think yours weighs a couple hundred pounds more than mine. I'm pretty sure mine's like 3,400-ish, I think. I could look it up online, but I think this is 3,200. 32, yeah. It's probably going to depend on the options and stuff. So, and then my Challenger's got 470 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. Wow. And I will say there's differences. So this is kind of like a scalpel. You hit on it, it feels very smooth power delivery. It feels like it's riding on rails. You know, you trade off a little bit of creature comforts in the car and stuff like that. Challenger, you know, it's built, you know, about, what, 8 years later. Yeah. There's some other quirks and features we'll get into the interior, but the other car is much bigger if you're going to go for a long trip. It actually, a good way to think of it's got like a Ford Crown Victoria trunks in the back. You can actually put enough material in the back. They're pretty big. And I mean, Corvettes are known to have a lot of trunk space, but your Challenger's going to have a lot more. Yeah, but at the same time too, that car weighs about 4,200 pounds. So while you have a lot more horsepower to weight, it's actually not quite as favorable as what you might think. So then, in your honest opinion, if you were to line these up, which one do you think would be fastest 0 to 60 or 0 to 100? Well, I can tell you on paper, they're close. They're within a couple of tenths of a second. So with them both being 6 speeds, it's probably going to be a little bit more driver stuff. If you're on a road course, this one, because this one handles this isn't a boat like your Challenger is. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, my Challenger's got a few goodies on it, so it kind of helps out a little bit. Yeah. If you did the same thing on this, it might be a little bit more even playing field. Yeah. I'm going to apologize for the wind noise ahead of time. There is some gusts coming through, and we're going to try to record in between those gusts. But he did mention that it is a 6-speed, which, as you can see right there, is something I absolutely love about all cars, especially this car. What I wanted to do is just kind of go over the differences between the C4 and the C5, interior and exterior. So I think what we'll do is we'll start with the C4 because, you know, it's older, and then we'll come over here to the C5. All right, so the first thing I want to point out, if you look at the front of a C4, it's very squared off. Everything's kind of got edges on it. Everything, the bumpers are kind of square. Now, it's not as squared as the previous, the 91s, like the 1990s had a much square bumper on it than this. The C5, however, everything is round. You can see, like Matt said, it kind of reminds you of a bullet. It goes through the air like much better than the C4 does. So it's a little more aerodynamic. A lot of C4 folks don't like the looks of the C5. They don't like the roundness. I personally, because I've mentioned this before, I love C5s. I've always wanted one, just couldn't afford one when I was 19 years old and got the C4. So we have that.
The headlights on these are a little wider than what mine are. I don't know dimension wise, but you can see here, like, there's that compared to that. So it's about an inch or two narrower on my car compared to that. And speaking of headlights, I want to show you the difference. So you see how the C5 just pops up like that. Well, the C4, it doesn't just flip up, it actually spins all the way around. Why they did that, I have no idea.
It makes it look cooler.
Yeah, it does look cool. I know a lot of kids, like if there's kids around my car, when they see that, they think it's the coolest thing in the world. My niece and nephew think it's awesome. They think it's like a rocket.
It was the 80s technology.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is a very, you know, technology-wise, very old, you know, old school stuff. The C5, of course, it's a lot newer. Now this is a 91. This is an 04. So we're looking at what, 13 years, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 13 years. I'm terrible at math. Thank you for confirming that. This guy's an engineer. He knows his math. I don't. But let's take a step.
More rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. On the C4, you have these little fins on the side. There's 4 of them, and on his, as you can see, there's only like 2, but they're much bigger. And also, like on his, it actually extends back towards the back a lot further, as you can tell here on that line.
And that's actually an option that was called the body mold kit. So
oh, really?
This is just stuck on. Basically,
okay.
Probably 3 and double tape.
So this is an option, and it's not actually.
I think it's an option, but 85% of the people got that option.
Okay, yeah, I think it looks cooler in my opinion. Another big difference on the C4 is the mirrors here are pretty squared off. You know, they're totally different looking than the C5. These mirrors here are 100% rounded. There's no edges anywhere. So taking a look to the back here, one of the biggest differences between the C4 and the C5 is the exhaust. On these, you can see there's 2 exits on either side of the car, whereas the C5 has them right there in the center. Now, the C5, C6, and C7 all had the exhaust like that. Now, going to the brand new C8, they actually went back to the design of the C4, where they have the 2 exits on either side of the car. Another thing is, too, is you'll notice the tail lights on mine are more like a square on all 4. And on the C5, they're more of like big, long ovals. That was a big change, too, for the C5 generation. They do still have Corvette in the back written like that, which I think all Corvettes pretty much have that. I mean, they're a little different, but... And then you have mine here. And Matt was telling me he's actually wants to get some letters for his to put in. Do you have any idea what color you're gonna get?
I'm probably gonna get black.
Black?
Blend it in.
This way it sticks out.
The back, and also for front license plate filler
Yeah,
area.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Speaking of differences, it looks like your gas cap's different.
Yeah,
than mine.
I definitely want to point that out. One thing that I love about the C4
it makes it easy when you go to fill up.
It doesn't matter what side. Like a lot of cars these days, you know, all cars these days, you have to remember what side of your car your gas cap is on. Well, in the C4, you can just pull up anywhere you want, and whether the pump's on your left side or the right side, right there is where you get fuel. And how cool is this? Like, who does not think this is cool? If you don't think this is cool, I'm sorry, but it's pretty epic. And it even says here, unleaded fuel only, premium recommended, super recommended. That's in a different language, of course, but like that's epic. Now, the C5 is on the driver's side, so you have to remember that. Do you push that, or is there a button on the inside?
There's a button inside the glove box.
Okay, you wanna?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. So there's a button on the inside of the glove box that Matt's gonna push here, and it just pops open.
Yeah, this thing's actually got some force when it comes open.
Let's see. Oh wow, jeez, let my hand one there. Take it off. So you know, with these, when you take these off, like in my car, there's how do you take this thing off?
It's just
I don't want to break it.
You gotta have a man card.
Oh, I don't have one of them.
No, it's actually, so yours has got grooves. This has just got like a lining tab. So
okay.
When you put it in there.
So then where do you put that when you're done? Like, where do you put it when you're getting fuel?
Well,
I'm assuming something with that, or is there?
To be honest, here lately, I've only filled this up a couple of times.
Okay.
I've just been putting it on the ground.
Okay.
Because I don't want to nick it. But
so what you're saying is you don't lay it here, right?
No. That's a cardinal sin. And they actually got, you know, Echlers and others have got the little flap that you put.
Yes,
so that way you
I've
don't
seen
get
that.
any spills on it.
Yeah.
But I usually just put it on the ground next to the pump.
Okay, yeah, smart. Now, moving to the rear end top of the Corvette. Big changes here from C4 to C5. So a lot of you guys know on the C4, when you pop the hood, it's literally just the glass that goes up in the air. The glass is the only thing that comes up in the air. You still have all this as part of the body, and it does not move. And of course, the roof goes in here. You have your clip here for the front, and then it goes into the slots up there on both sides. On the C5, however, big changes. On this one, when it pops up, you actually have a part of the body that's actually attached to the back window. Now, one benefit of that is you have a lot less space here to have to like lean over to get stuff in.
And I think you actually have more storage space as well.
Yeah, you definitely have more storage space in here, because if you notice in the C4, when the roof's in here, it literally goes back to here. Like, it takes up the entire trunk. Now, there's still a lot of area. You can put stuff back here. You can put groceries, suitcases, whatever you want. The C5, however, which is awesome. Go ahead.
Yep, so they got these little cubby holes here, to the smaller ones, but one of the options this car actually came with was a 12-disc CD changer. So
nice.
This is old school right here.
That's some decent room though, honestly.
And you can tell they put stiffening tabs back here for the deflection, because it's actually a pretty good piece.
Yeah.
So you actually have a little bit more. So one interesting thing that's different between this car and the Z06, even though this isn't the focus of the video,
yeah,
the Z06 doesn't have any of this stuff.
Okay.
It has the cubby holes, but then they're recessed and adds a weight savings right there.
Okay, yeah.
The Z06 is about 80 to 100 pounds less. They don't have the removable togger top. It's fixed roof coupe.
Yeah.
You know, it got about 50 more horsepower, but that's little tricks they did.
Yeah, of course. The one thing about this though, like on my car, like I just showed you, there's one pin in the rear center right here that attaches to the hood. I'm sorry, the roof. And here you have a pin on both sides. Now, how do these things work, Matt?
Yeah, so what you do is you put the target tops, the balls that are there at the end, slide in here. These are actually removable if you want them to be. They just basically twist off.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
So,
yeah.
I guess if you knew you were going somewhere you want a little bit more,
that's actually really nice, yeah.
And then you could store them in here if you want to. So what you do, you rest it, and instead of having a central latch mechanism here, there's actually 2 individual latches. So once it's secure, you basically just let these,
so it pops out,
and it rests on the inside of it, and it really doesn't go anywhere once you have it.
Yeah. The one thing I like about this design though, over to the C4, is that the roof ends here, and you still have at least 12 inches of room here that you can still put, you know, high stuff in here if you needed to, where I can't do that in my car. So again, there's a lot of room in there. I've had trips, I've had suitcases, stuff like that, golf clubs, but you can still fit a lot more in here because of how much room you have between the front and the
And one of the technology differences is that the way your gas tank is set up, that's the reason why you don't have that much room.
Oh, okay.
This is actually located different.
That makes sense, yeah.
So that's part of the, you know, little tricks of why they did that way.
Yeah, okay.
So speaking of hatches, I mentioned one of the interesting quirks you see. There's a lot of YouTubers that have got C5s and stuff, but it's air pressure. So the only thing I did different from what you just saw was I rolled the windows up. Now, you'll notice whenever I try to shut the lid, it doesn't actually fully close, and the reason is the air pressure. So typically, you know, I had the windows down in the garage, so it doesn't matter. But, you know, C6 generation, they resolve that issue, but you actually have to physically latch it if the windows are down or the doors open.
So again, when you close the latch, the air in the cabin can't go anywhere, so it keeps the thing from shutting all the way, right?
Yep,
okay.
that's 100% right.
And if the windows are down, it actually shuts all the way.
That's correct.
Let's see how that works. It's now the windows are down, and we're gonna see how this shuts now. It should shut all the way. Look at that.
And
so
you kind of heard a noticeable thud.
Yeah, exactly. So, excuse me, here's a Tesla. Instead of it going down and popping back up, it actually shuts all the way because the air was able to go out the windows. That is actually pretty funny.
That's one of the things you hear about, and then the first time it happens to you is like, well, be doggone.
Yeah, I just noticed too, I never really noticed this before, but the C5 here, it actually comes out and then kind of curves in a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of like a spoiler.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas the C5 is completely bumped out, which I've mentioned before. I love that about the later C4s. So I had my top off on the way here because it was, you know, in the 30s. Now it's in the 60s and it's beautiful. So I took my top off when I got here. His top is still on, however. Now he does have the see-through top. Now you probably can't see it from here, but if you down here and look up, you can see the sky. Now he did say that it does create a little bit of heat. Now he hasn't had this in the middle of summer yet. He just got it in September. But there is like a little cover you can buy that pops up in there to keep the heat from hitting you. But you said it also came with something else, right?
Yep. So this one actually was optioned with dual roofs. The C4s had this as an option too. But the other one I've got is a body color, so it'd be the same color here as the exterior. Okay. And it just latches in the back. So basically this would be the same exact color as this. Yep. Okay. And that one actually has a liner built into it. It's there's a little bit of a weight difference because this is Lexan.
Oh, okay.
It's fiberglass, so you can't feel it. Even though these are a lot easier to put on than the C4s, they're still a little cumbersome because you don't want to drop it. I wanted to mention that when we get inside, because as you guys know, in my C4, there's a screw that goes in there, or sorry, a bolt that goes in there and over there, and then these bolts here are actually are already in there. They're just sitting there that you push up when you go to put the top on. So on here, you actually have to manually put 4 bolts
into the hood. This one doesn't have any bolts at all. Let's head on the inside and check it out. So I mentioned you guys in that car you have 4 bolts you got to remove to take the top off, and here you have a handle, and a handle. So how does that work, Max? Go ahead and show us.
All right, so what you do is you undo this one,
okay,
and these are just turns.
Okay.
And they actually do flex a little bit.
Okay. And
then this one, you have to push this up and like that way.
Unlock it, okay.
So now it's unlocked. So unless you know what you're doing, you could become part of the flying roof club.
Yeah, that would not be cool at all. So as you can see, that took what, 6 seconds maybe? And that it takes me about 2 minutes to get that top off. And this, yeah. You want to put it in the back?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
Here I go. Now we got to turn around.
All right.
And just rest it, and then on your side just put this and then slide it in.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
And now, yep.
Wow. So here you guys go. The roof is now in the back of the car. Now, the one thing that I think is a quirk upon all Corvette removal tops is that the top, the way it sits on the car, is actually spun around 180 degrees when it's placed in the car. So this is actually the front of the roof. That's the back of the roof. I'm not really sure why they do it that way. I'm sure there's a very good reason behind it, but you actually have to come out and like walk around, like spin the whole thing around to get it in the back of the car. And here you guys can see what the C5 looks like with the top off. I just think it looks awesome like that. With the top on, of course, they all look good, but I think with the top off, it just makes it look like a totally different animal out in the road.
One difference too is the hoods. As you'll see, my hood is just more or less just a hood that opens up. That's very similar to C6.
It's
C7.
much smaller, yeah.
And also the location on your C4, you have to actually be a contortionist.
Yes, it's not very easy.
This one's more like what you see on a Chevy pickup truck.
Okay. And yours actually pops up. That must be nice. Mine does not do that. I have to pull mine up.
So,
and it's a lot lighter, I'm assuming.
As I mentioned, this car is from 2004, roughly 13,000 miles on it, so it is pretty much stock. I even think it's still rocking the same stock air filter.
But honestly, though, I think Corvette engines look so good stock. Like I just think they're beautiful the way they show it off. Like the red lettering, the 5.7, the little cover. I think it's really good. Now you said you did want to get some kind of a new intake, right?
Yeah. There's always a little bit of room for improvement. And, you know, at first I thought, you know, a basic K&N panel air filter would just fit in there. It's like $80. You get into cold air intakes. They're technically not cold air because not 100% sealed off. I've actually been looking at VariRam, which actually updates your fog lights. Okay. And it actually rams it in there. So
I've heard of that. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So it's what I've heard is the fitment can be an issue, but it actually, if you don't look at peak horsepower gains, but gains along the curve, it can be anywhere from 30 to 40, which actually makes sense if you're going at 60. Yeah, it's a lot more straighter shot into the mass airfold and intake manifold. It
is surprising though. Now keep in mind, I have an L98 in this car, and what's this one?
That is the first generation to LS1.
LS1, okay. I've noticed a lot of the stuff is the same. Like the alternator's in the same exact spot as mine. This is the brake fluid is in the same spot as mine. The clutch fluid here probably. Yeah, clutch fluid, same spot. This is not in the same spot. The battery, however, is over there in this one. And the C4, it's right here, which we'll get to that here soon. But yeah, so this is what the C5 looks like with the hood open. Now, as you can see, the fender right here is still intact. It is not moved. And in the C4, it completely moves, and we'll show you that here in a few seconds. But one thing I did forget to mention is the emblem difference in the cars is this is the C4 emblem and this is the C5 emblem. Now one weird quirk I just thought about was on this side, you see how the emblem is kind of like in a V shape kind of thing. Well, on the rear, it's completely straight, like it's completely flat going across. There's no V at all. I'm not sure why they did that. Don't care. It's just part of the car. To open up the C4, the handle is way underneath here, but when I open it up, nothing happens because it's old. So I have to like pull this and then lift it up like that. Now you'll see, not light.
Yeah, that's actually, if I remember right, this is like one of the biggest pieces of fiberglass they had on a production car.
I'm pretty sure you're right. I've heard that from a couple people in the past. But as I showed over there, the alternator's in the same exact spot. Brake fluid, clutch fluid in the same spot. My battery's right here, totally different than that one over there. But even this radiator hose is in the same exact spot as it is on that car over there. Now I do have a Vortex ram air for my cold air intake. That did make a difference with the car, definitely. And then I got rid of the accordion looking coupler there and replaced it with that one.
And it actually looks like you cut a little bit of the plastic out in order to get air coming straight up from the bottom.
Yes, I had so the main air box that's there from factory is huge and it's completely tight and they can't really get any air. That actually comes out and you have to cut a hole in the radiator shroud to put that in. So if you get underneath the car and look up, right, where's that? Right there's my filter. So as you can see, like, it's getting full air. There's nothing blocking it at all. Oh, what I was mentioning here to you guys is you can see here, like, the entire roof, the entire hood is completely like up. The fenders are gone. Like on here, this fender's still in place. On here, it's not. So you can actually, this is actually kind of cool. It actually looks like a race car, where you can actually look right down in. You can see the shocks. You can see the control arms. Everything's pretty easy to get to. Whereas on this one, of course, you can't. You ain't gonna see any of that stuff on this one. So
the added benefit that you got too is that if you were to do any suspension work or brakes,
yeah,
you actually got a lot more access to get the work done.
I actually just had my front rotors resurfaced because somehow they got warped, and I don't understand how, because I torque all my lug nuts all the time. But it was so easy. After you got the tire off, it was 2 bolts and then a pin you had to remove, and I had the calipers off and the rotors, and it was super easy to do. That's how it looks with the hood open on the C4. And that's how it looks with the C5. Very, very different. That hood there is huge and very heavy. This hood here is small and pretty light. All right, guys, so Matt and I decided that this is gonna be a much longer video than what we originally expected. So we're gonna do this in 2 parts. 2 parts. So this is the video, this is the part of the video of just like going back and forth about what's different, what's the same. The next part of the video is going to be all driving. So POV of the C4, POV of the C5. I am so excited to drive the C5 again because I have not driven a C5 since 2007. It's been a long time. I'm very excited to do so. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys did, please give it a thumbs up. If you guys did not, please give it a thumbs up anyways. Please subscribe. Take care, and I'll see you later. Bye.